Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out malicious compliance. Story 1. Pay me 3 hours to save you $0.39 deal. For background, it's important to know that when I travel for work, I can charge at most 8 hours even if the travel day is longer. But if it's not an 8-hour travel day, I'm expected to log in and work up to 8. Super fair/s. Additionally, the travel booking tool flags your ticket and notifies your manager if it deems your selected flight is not the cheapest reasonable option. I've never actually had a manager decline one of my choices, but the system was so dumb this time I invoked MC. Instead of a 2.75-hour non-stop home, the system told me I should take the lower cost one stop, at a travel time of 5.75 hours, with a savings of 39 cents. Instead of getting more work done, I got paid an extra 3 hours to watch some extra shows on my iPad and had an extra meal on the company travel allowance at the airport, which was around $30 value. Delicious compliance. Story 2. Suggestion box. I did this a lot at one point, but I've gotten out of the habit. Please just post anything you'd like to have modified about the subreddit. Anything off topic may be removed without warning. Story 3. Manager says I cannot clock out unless I get cleared by a manager. Long-time lurker, first-time poster. On mobile, and I'm dyslexic, so sorry for any mistakes. I've loved listening and reading Malicious Compliance. Always wondered when I would get the chance for my own. So to get started, some context: I work as a technician that does jobs in residential homes. We get several jobs on our routes at the beginning of the day. After we are done with our jobs, we send a message to our manager and the route service rep. If I am done early and another tech is running behind, they will send that job to me. If there is no jobs left to be covered, we are cleared and we can head back. We also work 4-10 HR shift days, with the option to pick up a 5th day for overtime and choose between a half or a full day. Now to the story. I like picking up 5th days for a little extra overtime. On one of the days I picked up, I had a family dinner I didn't want to miss, so I made it a half day. It was a busy day and I didn't get to my last job till about 2:30. Lucky for me, the customer wasn't home. The job rescheduled. I messaged my manager and route service rep that I was done. I was cleared by the service rep but not the manager. I didn't think much about it since I was meant to be off 2 HRS earlier, and they never add more jobs to you after your scheduled shift. So I just headed back to the office and clocked out and made it to my family dinner. The next day I worked. I opened my work phone to find a message from my manager an hour after I clocked out that day stating you are not allowed to clock out unless cleared by a manager. At first I was like, oh crap, I must have forgotten to add him to the message. I checked and no, I definitely added him and it shows he saw the message. So I took a screenshot of both messages and thought to myself, alright, I'll maliciously comply. If I don't get cleared, I won't clock out. So every day since think I made sure I was cleared by a manager. Honestly, most of the time all managers are really good at being on top of this, so I didn't think I would ever get to take advantage of this malicious compliance. But about a month later I finally got my chance. On this fateful day, it was a busy one and it was winter and we were getting some bad snow. I had several big jobs and was behind schedule. Finally, after finishing my last job at almost 8 p.m. I messaged my manager, same manager that gave me that rule, and the route service rep that I was done. I started heading back, wanting to get out of the snow and get home. I got home about 8:30 and I still wasn't cleared by my manager. So I didn't clock out. I messaged him again, asked him if he can clear me so I can clock out. No answer. I sat and debated how much I can milk this. After all, I do get paid hourly. Well, I didn't want to abuse it too much, so I ended up calling him just before 9. He picked up confused. I told him I've been waiting for him to clear me. Still confused, he responded, yeah, of course I cleared. I remind him that he instructed me to not clock out until after I was cleared by a manager, then I thanked him, hung up and noted in the message, third, I called the manager and was cleared. It's been several months since then, and to this day that manager still sticks to everything he says, and to this day I still milk an extra 15 to 30 minutes of pay every time a manager forgets to clear me before I remind them. Well, that's my story. Sorry for no crazy outcome. That manager isn't a bad manager, just micromanages a bit too much from time to time. Sorry again for formatting and any spelling and writing mistakes. English is my first language, I'm just bad at it. Hope you enjoyed it. Edit. Some spacing and spelling errors. Story 4. Small food to penny pinching boss. This happened almost 20 years ago. I used to do construction of HVAC, residential systems, for a small company. There were like maybe 12 employees. Boss was a real a-hole. I had been denied a raise like a month before this because we weren't making enough. Our start time was supposed to be 7 most days, but it was mostly up to one of the 2 leads, supervisos, about when we actually got to the job site and started. So boss shows up with no new thing saying it's a time clock thingy. Small box. No front display. No numbers. Nothing except a small metallic circle about 2 inches round. Everyone gets a red plastic key and a green key, both with a small metal circle as well. Green key is to start your time. Red key is to stop your time. Everyone kinda grumbles. I look up the cost of this system, I think it was like 5K, and go, oh I see. Boss says from now on if we don't use this system he'll dock 30 mins for each offense. Cue malicious compliance. Every time I used it, I did it rapid fire 50 to 60 times. Starting the day? 50 to 60 times. Going to the bathroom? Hit it 50 to 60 times. Break time? Same. Lunch? Rinse and repeat. A week later boss shows up. With a stack of papers about 2 inches thick. It was our time logs. LMAO. I single-handedly turned in what should have been 3 pages at most into a nightmare for his payroll company. It showed the milliseconds for each tap I had made. Even better cause it was summer and we worked later hours for more breaks. It lasted for about 2 more weeks till everyone pretty much lost the keys. LMAO, boy was he pissed. Story 5. Give us a lower quote or else let me handle it. We were engaged to set up a small R&D lab in a manufacturing plant. It included renovation works, and an analytical instrument. The total project is around $200,000. Everything was going fine. The instrument was purchased, the renovation details and specifics were ironed out, and work was to commence. It was at this point that one of the company directors of the client company was brought into discussions. According to our contact person at the company, this director, whom I shall call Adam, has experience in renovations. They even said Adam has a stake in a renovation company. Adam took our specifications for the renovations and decided to get another quote from another renovation company. You can probably guess where this is going. The other quote came from the renovation company he has a stake in, and it is significantly cheaper than ours. By his calculations, he would have helped the client company save $10,000, and also profit from this project. What he doesn't realize is that this isn't any regular renovation. It requires using specific materials for corrosion resistance, the ducting has to go through a scrubber, etc. Because he's also the director at the client company, he has significant power. We got a quote from another company for the renovations and it's $10,000 cheaper than yours. Give us a lower quote, or else let this other company handle all the renovations. We made very sure to ask him if he has included costs for specific materials and scrubber and other expensive parts. Yes. All in. Adam says. We don't know how he can get it done that cheap, but we definitely can't meet his price. And since he has the power, he isn't going to back down, so QMC. Well. Okay then. We can't match the price. Let the other company do it. Almost immediately the project started to fall apart. Our project initially had a government grant helping our client cover some expenses, but it came with a tight deadline. Turns out Adam is a lifelong procrastinator and weeks go by without any renovation works carried out. 2 weeks before the grant expires, our liaison starts chasing Adam in increasingly frustrated tones, in the WhatsApp chat with us present because we are awaiting the work completion to set up the instrument. Turns out Adam was unaware of the grant deadline altogether, and missing the deadline means not getting over $30,000 in grants. He starts on a mad rush to get it all set up, but to nobody's surprise, it was an extremely shoddy job, low quality materials, no scrubber. Adam, we can't commission the instrument till the exhaust systems meets specifications. It's that material lining, and it needs the scrubber with those specs. We tell him and the client. But you never said it's needed. He says, to which we point to our specifications which he copied to pass over to the other company. Adam had to take down part of the renovations, which made the client miss the grant deadline. The renovations company spent even more money than our quote to purchase all the right materials at specs, and all this while that the instrument is not usable, they are spending $10,000 per month sending their samples to a third-party testing center. So in his ploy to save the client $10,000 on renovations, they ended up paying at least $60,000 more in the end. Plus Adam's renovation company made a loss on this project, but he deserves it. Story 6. Strong-arming me into a viewing. Fine, but you won't get inside the apartment. I'm renting an apartment from a company, whose renting agents are somehow all unprofessional, late, and kinda slow. Had a plethora of issues with them throughout 10 months, but that's a story for another time. As I've told my landlord I'll be moving out, they instructed their agents to find a new tenant for the apartment. The way it worked, the agent would email me with a proposed date and time, and I would confirm that I'll be in at that time. I've got a cat, so I insisted on being present during the viewings. The agents never had keys. I think that's because the landlord's office is at the other end of the city, and they can't be bothered to drive an extra hour each time there's a viewing to pick the keys up, and then drop them off, so they relied on me to let them in each time. Apart from a couple of unannounced show UPS, followed by passive-aggressive emails about the messy property, all was well until a week ago. The agent emails me saying they've got a viewing on the 13th. I respond saying I've got work that day, and won't be able to do 13th. She simply replies, if you won't be able to accommodate this request, I'll ask the landlord for a 24-hour notice of entry, which is legally enforceable. Okay, do that. The day comes, I get a call. We're downstairs. Congratulations, but I'm not home. I hope you brought keys this time. Man, I wish I could see her face then. We went back and forth a bit. She tried to threaten me with legal action, to which I just replied that I don't object to them entering. They're unable to enter through their own negligence, and I have nothing to do with it. Naturally got an email from the landlord asking me to be more cooperative next time, which was promptly ignored. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.